All right, guys. So once again, we got to respond to MSNBC and another absolutely insane take from one of their woke analysts that is paid to push Democrat Party propaganda and conspiracy theories, particularly about the election. Okay, they love election conspiracies when they come from the left, the Democrat Party, but they claim they hate election conspiracies when they come from Republicans. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Is this an election conspiracy for the ages that is coming from this guy on MSNBC, Fernand Amandi, whom is going to go on Tiffany Cross's show, aka Miss Joy Reid Light or Miss Joyless Reid, whichever one you want to call her. And he's going to claim that Black, Hispanic, and Asian voters, if they don't take the opportunity to vote in this election, they may never have the opportunity to vote again. I'm not kidding. This is exactly what this guy is saying. So I want to get into that. But before I get into that, I just want to let you guys know. My name is Greg Foreman. If you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can check out my merch, my donkeypox shirts, the disease that is affecting America, or my hashtag no days off / hard work patriotic t-shirts, or my MAGA Hub shirts. There's plenty of merch for you guys. Check out my website, gforemanbcp.com. Get 20% off using discount code gforemanbcp. So without further ado, roll the clip.
I mean, you're the resident pollster here. Is his optimism warranted? You know, do you see people turning out in Georgia and delivering a victory to Abrams and Warnock? You got Val Demings in your neck of the woods, in Florida, Sherry Beasley in North Carolina. It's all throughout the country. And considering that most of these communities will have to leapfrog over rampant voter suppression to do that, your thoughts?
Well, I think that's exactly right. Number one, we have to be mindful of that the Republicans are now all in a committed effort to make voting as difficult as possible, especially if you are someone from a person of color community. So that has to be taken always in the mindset. But I think, Tiffany, yes, I think we're going to see record midterm turnout. I think it's going to be the equal, if not better than what we saw in 2018, which is the highest midterm turnout in the last 75 years. I think we're going to see it again. And I think if we're able to capture and hold on to the Senate and maybe even hold on to the House, it's going to be because Black voters, Hispanic voters, Asian voters, all of those voters across the spectrum of this rising majority turned out. Because the truth of the matter is, Tiffany, if they don't take the opportunity to vote in this election, they may not have an opportunity to vote again in a free and fair election. Those really are the stakes. I don't think any of us can stress enough. If the Republicans capture either houses of Congress, they are committed to undoing democracy. They are committed to overturning whatever electoral result, quote unquote, doesn't go their way in 2024. You even have people like Marco Rubio right now saying they won't necessarily commit to accepting the results of the 2022 elections. This is what's at stake, and this is why I think we have to focus on this issue and how these communities, according to the polls that show they're very engaged, they're very enthused, and they plan on voting in historic numbers, mostly for Democrats, can play that difference-making role, Tiffany.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. At this point, there's nothing else that I can do or say except laugh. That's it. That's the only thing you can do is laugh. I mean, the conspiracies from the Democrats get more ridiculous by the day, okay? And they don't even make sense. They don't make any sense at all. Because this guy literally just admitted. He said, yeah, there's voter suppression, but I think there's going to be record turnout. Wait. So if there's voter suppression, how in the world is there going to be record turnout if people's votes are being suppressed? Again, it's almost like these people don't hear themselves talk. They don't listen to themselves speak and think to themselves, does that make sense? Does it make sense for me to claim that people's votes are being suppressed while also at the same time saying that there's record voter turnout? Because if that is the case, both of those things cannot possibly be true at the same time. How can you measure and know that people's votes are actually being suppressed if there is no tangible effect on voter turnout? I don't understand. I don't get it. Because if people are voting more, despite the GOP laws, then what evidence do you have that people's votes are being suppressed? You have none, right? You have zero. And this is why I always say that if the GOP's intentions with these election integrity bills is to actually suppress people's votes, they should stop passing those bills, right? Because they don't work, okay? But don't let the facts get in the way of the narrative. That is the Democrat motto, okay? Narrative over facts, right? Guys, this guy not only pushes the narrative, the conspiracy theory for the Democrats that their votes have been suppressed, he goes even further and says that Black, Latino, and Asian voters may not ever be able to vote again in a free and fair election unless they come out here and vote Democrat. So now they're telling you that, hey, your vote is being suppressed. There's going to be record turnout. And if you don't come out here and vote, you may not be able to vote again, right? In a free and fair elections. Our elections are not free and fair anymore if the GOP wins. But I thought you guys were the party of every election is free and fair. You can't make conspiracies about the election. You can't claim that the election is not free and fair unless you're a Democrat. Unless you're a Democrat, so it seems. Again, it's amazing to me that MSNBC has not been labeled a disinformation network, because that's what they are at this point. They're a full-blown propaganda network that has no problems pushing election conspiracies, disinformation, and honestly also trying to incite violence, right? That's exactly what this network is doing. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. But with that being said, Democrats still need an excuse just in case they lose the 2022 midterms and the voter suppression conspiracy theory doesn't work out, as, again, everybody's predicting that there's going to be record turnout for so-called minorities. But that doesn't necessarily mean that these so-called minorities are going to vote Democrat. We've already seen Hispanics, basically, they're flipping, right? They're flipping, okay? We saw what happened in South Texas, right? There are some polling data to indicate that, hey, black people may be on the way to flipping as well, too. As Rasmussen reports, is showing that if the election were held today, the GOP would win 22% of black American voters. Again, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's more than Trump secured during the last election. He got 18%, which is the highest number of any Republican in history, according to Timcast. I'm just saying, if this happens, the Democrat Party is going to be absolutely furious, okay? Because it will be evidence that they have lost the grip on black voters, which, hey, I don't necessarily know if it's going to happen, but according to MSNBC, if it does happen, Democrats are going to blame black men. Take a look.
Black men get blamed, and black people in general get blamed for failings on the part of the Democratic Party.
Yeah. When
policies get passed, when statutes, when candidates get elected, it's like, oh, the black people didn't turn out, the black people didn't turn out. And now it seems to be focused on black men. African-American men are super voters for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of people going to Brian Kemp and going to DeSantis, but the issue has been...
There are a few.
There are a small number, but let's be realistic. The vast majority of black men are still voting for Democratic candidates. But the question, and the thing I hear from people all the time is important, is what has the Democratic Party done for black men?
That's a fair question.
That is a fair question. And I think if Democrats spent more time talking about this is what we've done for brothers, this is what we've done for the working class guy and the guy in the C-suite, you wouldn't have these problems. And it feels like it's setting up a blame game so that if Stacey Abrams isn't elected and if Raphael Warnock ends up being defeated, black men will be blamed when in fact most of the time they're supporting the Democratic Party, even if the Democratic Party doesn't always support them.
Guys, you know the hilarious thing about that, right, is that this guy is basically saying that, well, the Democrat Party is going to blame black men if they lose, okay, if people like Stacey Abrams don't get elected. And I'm saying, thinking in my head, the person that's sitting across from you from the table, she literally just said recently that if black men don't get out here and vote, then they're going to be the reason why Stacey Abrams loses. That they need to fall in line behind black women.
Roland made a really legitimate point here. I will say, you know, a lot of black men sometimes feel like they're ignored or they're put down, particularly sometimes even by black women in the media. So this is not that. But I do hear Roland's point that felt ignored. But you feel ignored and then you go over to the other side. The oppressed feel oppressed. So then you go and try to align with the oppressor. So I'm not putting black men down, but sometimes it's like, well, some of you Kevin Samuels following Tariq Nasheed quoting people, please look at the truth and see what's happening and get in line with some of the black women is majority, like he said, vote Democrat. But that margin of people who can be plucked away from your people and go advance policies that harm your people, I just don't understand that.
Yeah. So when Homeboy wants to say that Democrats are blaming black men, he needs to look at his host, right? Tiffany Cross, who is shilling for the Democrats, she's a Democrat propaganda artist, stating that black men need to fall in line behind black women and vote Democrat, right? But again, the point of this video, guys, is that it really is getting ridiculous in regards to the conspiracies and the blame game that the Democrat Party is playing when it comes to them potentially losing, okay? They're basically telling people that if you don't vote Democrat, then there may never ever be another free and fair election again, right? That's what they're saying, which in my opinion is extremely dangerous stuff according to Democrats, right? They said the election conspiracies were the worst thing ever back during the 2020 election. Now, all of a sudden, when they're in a position when they're going to lose, they're pushing them like crazy, right? They're saying all types of crazy stuff. But again, you know, Democrats don't play by their own rules. They don't have any standards. And this is just another example. They are desperate. They will say anything to get you to get out there and vote for them without actually really fixing the problems that people are concerned about that are making people turn away from the Democrat Party. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.